Hey everyone, it's Syra, and I'm here today to talk about the recent live stream from Duet Night Abyss. Their recent live stream is shaking up the Gacha universe right now with some of the updates that they've given and their recent optimizations. Now, before we dive into the things that they discussed on their live stream, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Please click on it, give them a like, and support the dev team for actually listening to their community and their players, overhauling their game right before their release. Now, the first thing to talk about, and probably the biggest piece to talk about, is their recent Gacha system update. For those of you who are not aware, and I know most of everyone who's going to be watching probably is, but for those who don't, the current Gacha system is a limited time banner where a character is only available for that duration of time. Within that amount of time, you have about 90 pulls for a guaranteed level of that character. It could be a 5-star or it could be an S rank, however the game identifies those characters as. And what happens is you'll keep wishing until you get that level of character. Once you get that level of character, you run into a system called the 50-50 system. So there's essentially a 50% chance you're going to get the character that you want, the limited character, or a 50% chance that you're going to lose to a standard character that is already in the game and is available all the time. What happens then is if you lose the 50-50, then the next time you get that level of character, you are guaranteed to get the character that you want. And this pretty much applies for the weapon banners as well. What this does is this creates something called FOMO, or fear of missing out. You spend all this time saving up and doing all these dailies and missions, and you save up for the currency, and you have the potential to missing out the character that you really want, that you saved up for, or missing out on their weapon. Now, the only way to get around this is to pay real money to buy the currency that's in the game, and that will allow you to get the character that you are looking for. The really awesome news that came from the live stream for Duet Night Abyss is that they're completely doing away with that system. All characters and all weapons are going to be free. The way that they've worked this in is instead of doing your daily missions and other story content for the currency that you would use to wish for characters, you were using it to get the shards of characters, also known as Mindscape Shards or also fragments. When you've saved up enough of these fragments, you are able to get the character that is available all the time. The character will never go away. And that's why it removes the fear of missing out. There is no missing out. The character's always there, and you can farm for them anytime you want, and you can get these shards whenever you need. They do have the option to pay for more shards if you would like. The nice thing about this is that if you've already farmed, let's say, half the shards you need, you're essentially paying for half the character. But you don't need to pay for anything, you can just farm all of it. Which then brings me to the next thing that they announced, that there is no more stamina. Now, this is really common in mobile games where they limit you to how much you can do in a single day based on the amount of stamina that you have. So certain tasks will cost a certain amount of stamina, and there's only a certain amount of stamina that you can get in a single day. So you have to be very strategic with how you use your stamina so that you can build your characters and get all the gear that you need. And because Duet Night Abyss has gotten rid of the stamina, there is none of that. You can play as much as you want, and you can grind and farm as much as you want all the time. Now, when it comes to stamina, I've always kind of been on the fence with stamina. I see it in, I've seen the extreme in both scenarios. On one hand, you have the games with stamina where you have higher drop rates because you can only do so much in a day. And, it may take you a month or two to get whatever it is, but you've only had to spend maybe 30 or less minutes a day actually playing that game to get to the item within a month. Whereas on the other hand, I've seen friends who play for almost an entire day, every day for months, and still not get the item that they're looking for. So having a terrible drop rate with unlimited stamina, or having a good drop rate with stamina. I prefer a good drop rate with stamina, to be honest. But that doesn't mean I'm not excited to see what they do with it. It sounds like they really care about making it fun and easy, so I'm hoping that it's not going to be a ridiculous drop rate when it comes to certain things. They did confirm that the number of shards is essentially guaranteed, so you're guaranteed to get some shards when you're farming for them. So that's an additional bonus that we can look forward to. And next up, with the removal of stamina, we have the ranking system, or like the character account level system. In the game, it's also known as the trial experience. So because there's no stamina, typically games will use the stamina to, a certain activity which costs a certain amount of stamina will give you a certain amount of experience, which will then allow you to level and access more game content. Well, in Duet Night Abyss's case, they've removed stamina, so they had to rework their entire ranking system as well. The way that the ranking system works in Duet Night Abyss is pretty cool, actually. It takes all of your core game progression, and all of those different items give you a certain level of experience or a certain number of experience. All of that adds together and gives you your total level. So when you unlock characters, complete story missions, that kind of stuff, you will gain your level. And in turn, you will be able to unlock more content. You may be asking yourself, well, how are they going to make money and keep the game going if there's no gacha system and people aren't paying for resin or stamina? Where will they be making their money? They're taking the approach of, we have created our game, we've made our game fun, people want to play our game, and everything that they need is free and accessible. Where they're going to make their money is on the cosmetics. So if you want a new skin for a character, or if you want a new skin for a weapon, or other cosmetic items, those will be paid. And it would be the player's way of supporting them and their game. Now, I know there have been recent news with some of the new upcoming gachas that are starting to move away from the existing structures of the gacha system that we have today. And it's really refreshing to see them do that and moving in the right direction. And I have to give props to Duet Night Abyss's dev team for making such a huge jump, effectively removing the system entirely. And it really makes me that much more excited to see what they create, see what they do with it, and really get my hands on it and play it. Now, with all these changes, they did also announce that they're going to be doing another small beta test before the launch on October 28th. So if you're interested in joining that, keep an eye on their social accounts. I definitely will be myself. There was additional things that were covered on the live stream, things like the character models and the environments. If you want to see that, please go to the link in my description to the actual live stream to go watch it there. And let me know if you guys think that other games are going to follow suit. Like I said, there are already some gacha games that are backing away from the existing gacha system. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you think we're going to see more games remove the system entirely moving forward? Because that would be amazing. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you all in the next one. Ciao.